All right, so many of you have been requesting this, and I'm so excited to finally dive in.
Yeah, this should be fun.
Today we're taking a deep dive into art journaling prompts.
Ooh, lots of creative energy flowing already. I can feel it.
Specifically, we're looking at this list from Lestallion. They put out a blog post called 50 Art Journal Prompts List.
Lestallion, those are the journal people, right?
Exactly, and what's cool is they emphasize that these prompts are for anyone, not just experienced artists.
I like that. So often people think you need to be super talented to even start.
Totally, but here it's like, just grab a journal, any journal, and let's get creative.
And they've broken it down so nicely, 50 prompts, but organized into 5 categories.
Right, so we can explore different aspects of ourselves through these prompts. Shall we jump into the first category?
Let's do it. What's first?
Self-expression prompts. These are all about tapping into, well, expressing yourself.
Makes sense.
One that caught my eye is all about how you feel today, but you can only use shapes and colors.
Ooh, no words allowed.
Nope, just pure visual expression.
That's clever. Sometimes words just aren't enough to capture those complex emotions.
Right, like how would you even describe a feeling using only weight words? Sometimes you need that visual element.
Totally. I can imagine using like a spiky red triangle for frustration or a soft blue circle for peace.
Yes. And there's another one, it's a color splash page, but each color represents a different emotion you felt throughout the week.
Oh, like a visual mood tracker almost.
Exactly. And it could reveal so much. Like if you see mostly reds and oranges one week, maybe it's a sign you need some self-care.
I like that. Okay, what's the next category?
Memory prompts. These are all about, well, memories, preserving those moments from the past.
Nostalgia time.
One prompt is to sketch an item you hold dear, but also write why it matters. So it's not just visual, but emotional too.
Yeah, like grandma's old locket. You could draw it, but also write about all the memories and feelings it holds.
Exactly. And there's this then and now prompt where you show how something's changed in your life, but use contrasting art styles for each period.
So like if you were drawing your childhood home, the then part could be in a childlike style and the now more realistic.
Yes, I love that. Okay, ready for something a little deeper?
Bring it on.
Emotions and healing prompts. These are where things get really interesting, I think.
This is where art therapy comes in, right?
Absolutely. One prompt is to represent an emotion you're struggling with, either abstractly or literally.
Sometimes it's just easier to draw your anger than talk about it, you know?
For sure. And there's this one about drawing a protective shield filled with symbols of strength and resilience.
Oh, I love that. Like, what are your inner resources, the things that keep you grounded when things get tough?
Exactly. Maybe for someone it's a shield covered in images of loved ones. For another, it's all about nature.
It's so personal, and I think the act of creating that shield could be incredibly empowering.
Okay, 2 more categories to go. Let's take a peek at dreaming and imagining prompts.
Ooh, this sounds fun.
Right. This category is like a playground for creativity.
Anything goes.
One prompt is to create a dream landscape of your ideal world. No limits, just pure wish fulfillment.
That's a great way to explore your values, what truly matters to you.
And sometimes just visualizing what you want can be the first step towards making it happen.
True. Then there's a vision board prompt, but this one encourages using art materials to make it more personal.
Right. Not just cutting and pasting images, but adding your own unique touch.
Vision boards can be powerful tools, and incorporating art takes it to another level.
Okay, one last category before we take a break. Nature prompts. These are all about connecting with, well, nature.
I'm already feeling calmer just thinking about it.
Right. One prompt is to draw the view outside your window, but use colors that reflect your current mood.
So even if it's a boring view, the colors tell the real story.
Exactly. And there's this prompt to use only natural colors like greens, browns, blues to capture that earthy feeling.
It's like bringing a little piece of nature right onto the page, which can be so grounding.
Well, there you have it. A whirlwind tour of Lestallion's 5 categories of art journal prompts.
That was fantastic. So much to think about, so many creative possibilities.
It really is amazing how these simple prompts can unlock so much potential, isn't it?
And I think it reinforces their message. Art journaling is for everyone.
You don't need to be a pro, you just need a journal and an open mind.
And maybe some colorful pens and paints.
Of course. So before we move on, what are your initial thoughts? Any prompts that jumped out at you?
So many. I'm already thinking about that dream landscape one and the shield of resilience.
Me too. And that color splash page, I might actually try that this week. But we'll dive deeper into some specific prompts in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. This is just the beginning, folks. Get those creative juices flowing.
Absolutely. We'll be back soon to explore even more of these amazing prompts. Until then, happy journaling.
And don't forget, let us know what prompts resonate with you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Back for more art journaling fun. I hope you've all had time to think about what your art journal wants to tell.
That really stuck with me, that idea. It's like there's a story waiting to be uncovered in each of us.
And these prompts can help bring those stories to light, right?
Absolutely. I think we touched on the therapeutic benefits last time, but I'd love to explore that more.
Yeah, let's dive deeper into that. For a lot of folks, art journaling becomes this safe space to process emotions.
Especially the ones that are hard to put into words.
That's where that prompt about visually representing a difficult emotion comes in, right?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's just easier to draw it out than try to explain it.
Like instead of saying, I'm angry, you could, I don't know, scribble furiously with red crayon.
Exactly. Or maybe it's more abstract, like swirling colors that capture the feeling.
And maybe in doing that and putting it out there visually, you gain some new understanding of it.
It's like you're giving that emotion a form you can see, interact with, maybe even tame a little.
And you might even uncover hidden patterns, like say you're feeling anxious and you draw it out.
You might notice you're always using sharp lines or a certain color palette when depicting anxiety.
Which could clue you into triggers or patterns you weren't consciously aware of.
It's like the art becomes this mirror, reflecting back things we hadn't noticed about ourselves.
Speaking of reflections, what about that prompt for creating a shield of strength and resilience?
I loved that one. It's like giving form to your inner resources, what helps you weather the storms.
And those resources are so personal. One person's shield might be all about nature, another's is family.
Right. But in creating it, you're making a conscious choice about what empowers you.
And when things get rough, you can look back at that shield and remember, I've got this.
Okay, time for a change of scenery. What about those nature prompts? Connecting with nature through art.
I was skeptical at first, not being much of a nature artist myself, but then I remembered that prompt about drawing the view outside your window.
Even if it's not beautiful in the traditional sense, there's still beauty to be found.
And the mood element. Using colors to reflect how you feel, even if it's a gray day outside.
So even if it's the same view every day, the colors will change depending on your inner state.
Which shows how connected our inner and outer worlds really are.
And don't forget the prompt about using only natural colors, those earthy tones that have such a calming effect.
It's like grounding yourself visually, bringing in a sense of peace just through color.
This whole art journaling thing, it's really about so much more than just pretty pages, isn't it?
It's self-discovery, it's mindfulness, it's giving yourself permission to just play.
I was so focused on the product before, but now I'm realizing it's the process that matters.
Exactly. And the more you let go of that need for perfection, the more freely you can create.
And you know what? Sometimes the most interesting things happen when you're not trying to be perfect.
Absolutely. Happy accidents, unexpected results, that's where the magic lies sometimes.
If anyone's feeling stuck or creatively blocked, I think art journaling could be a great outlet.
You don't need fancy supplies, just a journal and the willingness to explore.
You might surprise yourself with what comes out, what you discover about yourself along the way.
Maybe a hidden talent, or just a new way of processing your experiences.
Okay, before we move on to the last part of our deep dive, I'm curious,
What is it?
which prompts have really stood out to you so far?
Ooh, tough choice. That one about sketching something you want to learn someday, that resonated.
Why that one?
It's like planting a seed, putting it out there visually, makes it more real somehow.
And reminds you that learning is a lifelong journey. It's never too late to start something new.
Exactly. That and the one about creating your ideal future self, but using only colors and symbols.
Oh, that's a good one. Not writing about it, but embodying it visually.
Yeah, like what would that future you look like, feel like, what colors would surround them?
It's almost like a conversation with your future self, but through the language of art.
And who knows, maybe that future you has some wisdom to share with the present you.
Speaking of past and present, what about that then and now prompt?
Oh, the one where you show how something's changed, using different styles for each time period?
Yeah. It's like a visual representation of how much we grow and evolve over time.
And the contrasting styles could reveal so much. Like if the then is dark and the now is vibrant.
It shows how even difficult times can lead to transformation, how we come out stronger on the other side.
Looks like we've reached a natural pause point in our conversation, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's still more to explore, right?
Absolutely. In the final part, we'll tackle the remaining prompts and share even more personal insights.
We'll also give some practical tips for anyone who's ready to start their own art journaling journey.
So until then, Grab your journals, gather your supplies, and let that creativity flow.
We'll be back soon for the grand finale of our art journaling deep dive. And we're back for the final chapter of our art journaling deep dive. I have to say, I'm feeling so inspired after exploring all these prompts.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? Emotions, memories, dreams. We've covered a lot of ground.
And we still have a few more prompts to uncover before we wrap things up.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the self-expression prompts, and there's one that caught my eye.
Ooh, which one?
It's about sketching a timeline of your day, but not with words, with doodles and symbols.
I like that. So even like brushing your teeth or making coffee becomes a little art moment.
Exactly. It's like a visual diary, but more playful and creative.
And it makes you realize that even those mundane moments, when you string them together, they tell a story.
Right. It's all about shifting your perspective,
Yeah.
finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Ooh, there's another one in that category that plays with perspective in a cool way.
Tell me about it.
It's about representing your current mood, but using only shades of one color.
That's interesting. So, like, if you're feeling happy, it wouldn't just be bright yellow, but maybe a whole range of yellows.
Exactly. From pale lemon to deep golden, all capturing different nuances of that happiness.
It's like a color gradient of emotion. I love that.
Okay, I'm ready to switch gears for a bit. What about those emotions and healing prompts?
Oh, yeah, those are powerful.
Mhm.
There are a couple here that I think are great for cultivating a more positive mindset.
Let's hear them.
One is all about gratitude. Just create a page dedicated to things you're thankful for.
That's a good one. It's so easy to focus on what's going wrong, but this forces you to pause and appreciate the good.
Right. And there are so many ways to approach it. You could do a collage or draw little pictures or even just write words.
It's about whatever resonates with you, whatever helps you tap into that feeling of gratitude.
And then there's this prompt about forgiveness, using art to represent what it means to forgive.
Forgiveness. That's a tough one. I wonder how people would express that visually.
I don't know, maybe a knot untying or a broken heart mending itself.
Those are good ones. It makes you think about the symbolism behind the art, how to capture these abstract ideas.
Okay, I need a dose of whimsy now. Back to the dreaming and imagining prompts.
Always down for a bit of imagination.
There's one that's just pure fun. Fill a page with wild doodles and shapes. Don't try to make sense of it.
Oh, I love those kinds of prompts. Just letting go of control, seeing what comes out.
It's almost meditative, you know, just letting your hand move and trusting the process.
And sometimes those nonsense doodles can spark the most amazing ideas later on.
True.
Yeah.
Speaking of ideas, we have to talk about the vision board prompt. We touched on it before, but it's worth revisiting.
Oh, yes. Vision boards are so powerful. It's one thing to think about your goals, but to see them laid out visually.
It makes them more real, more tangible.
Exactly. And the art aspect adds another layer to it. It's not just about finding images, it's about creating something unique.
Okay, last category, I promise. Nature prompts. One last dose of tranquility before we wrap up.
Bring it on.
There's one that I think is so evocative. It's about illustrating your favorite type of weather.
So not just drawing a sun or a cloud, but really capturing the feeling of that weather.
Exactly. Like, how would you depict the crispness of a fall morning or the hazy warmth of a summer day?
Ooh, I'm already picturing those colors and textures. Weather has such a powerful effect on us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it's this beautiful prompt about drawing a tree. But each branch or leaf represents something positive you want to grow in your life.
So it's not just a tree, it's like a visual representation of your personal growth.
And as you add more branches and leaves, it's a reminder that growth is an ongoing process.
It's like a metaphor for nurturing those different parts of ourselves.
Wow, these prompts.
Mm.
They're so much deeper than I initially thought. Yeah.
They really are. It's not just about being artistic, it's about self-discovery, healing, exploring your inner world.
And I think that's what makes art journaling so appealing to people. It's a way to connect with yourself on a deeper level.
And it's accessible to everyone. You don't need to be a trained artist, you just need a willingness to experiment.
Well said. As we wrap up our deep dive into Lestallion's 50 art journal prompts, I'm feeling incredibly inspired.
Me too. So many creative possibilities swirling around in my head.
It's amazing how these simple prompts can unlock so much potential. If you're feeling called to start art journaling, my advice is just go for it.
Don't overthink it. Just grab a journal and start exploring. Find the prompts that speak to you and let your creativity flow.
And remember, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's all about finding what works for you and having fun along the way.
So, until next time, keep those creative sparks alive.
And happy journaling, everyone.